Hello everyone. This video is a bit of a follow-up to a video I've done about mechanical point control. So I'll link that on screen now in case you've not seen that one already. I do recommend watching that one first as it explains the principles of this kind of thing. And in that video I explained that I have used cranks. I use the G.E.M cranks, which aren't available anymore as far as I'm aware, and also cost quite a bit. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can make your own DIY cranks to have the same effect. So for this I used some plastic. This is quite strong, quite thin plastic, and I think that's ideal for this application. It's a bit like plastic art, but I think a bit more strong and a bit fairly thick for plastic art standards. So it's about 2 millimeters thick, measures roughly. This is the shape of the crank I need to cut out and drill out the holes for. Just drew this on CAD using the example of the G.E.M ones that I have. So it's 10 millimeters by 10 millimeters in total, with an 8 millimeter by 8 millimeter square cut out the top right corner to give that L shape, and then the holes are each about 1 millimeter to fit the 0.032 inch piano wire. So the first thing is to cut out the shape from the plastic. To use that I used a knife and steel ruler to score it several times and then bent it off with some pliers. Because it's such a small piece, really you need the pliers to help snap it off once it had been scored a few times. So to cut the smaller 8 by 8 millimeter square out of one of the corners, then I scored that mark where that needs to be and put it in this kind of clampy vicey thing and used a razor saw, as you can see. Then I carefully placed that offcut 8 by 8 millimeter piece to one side. That's going to be used for the base in a minute, but there we have it. That's the L-shaped part cut. And next we need to drill the 5 holes, one for the pivot in the center of the crank and the 2 at the ends of each of the L shapes. So mark those up again and then I'll get those drilled. To drill the holes I'm going to use one of these small drill bits, the 1 millimeter one for the 0.032 inch piano wire, and I'm very fortunate to have access to a pillar drill, so that's what I use for this. It's much easier, but if not you can just use a hand drill carefully, or of course a pin vise. I find these drill bits are a little bit delicate, so I find it's worth having a bit of material underneath to stop them snapping, so they don't just flex around and you can feel when they go through the piece you've actually cutting. So that's what I've got here, a bit of balsa glue to a bit of plywood, and then I'm using that on the pillar drill with the 1 millimeter drill bit. Similarly, I've drilled a hole in the middle of the offcut 8 by 8 millimeter piece, which forms then the base of the crank, as you can see here, and by moving the wire in the tube, again you get movement of the crank just like before. So I hope that's a bit of an idea as to how you might solve the problem of not being able to buy those. Of course this is much cheaper as well. And of course if you're going to use these on a scenic section of your layout, you could file them off and sand them off and possibly even paint them to make them look the part. So I hope you found that a useful idea, and I hope you can watch that in conjunction with the other video I've made to have a think about whether you might consider using mechanical point control on your layout. Thanks very much for watching. If you want some more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. Catch you next time.